Good morning, internets. I realize it's been a couple of days. Things got crazy, but I'm back. So here's what's up. Last night, this just hit the news. Toyota, new big player in the EV game. Not terribly new, given that, they brought us the first mass-produced hybrid 20 years ago with the Prius. But Toyota wants to sell 1 million electric cars by 2030. Now, I know that sounds a long way off, but it's only 12 years from now. Remember when 2018 sounded like a long way off, and now it's next week? 1 million electric cars by 2018, and at least 10 new EVs and fuel cell vehicle cars coming with all cars electrified by 2025. That's madness. So I don't honestly know a lot about fuel cell cars. I do know that they run on liquid hydrogen, and that they produce electricity by combining oxygen from the air with the liquid hydrogen, leaving water vapor as its only byproduct. Now, that's the main principle here, but beyond that, I don't really know about fuel cell vehicles. I know that we have a couple places here in Las Vegas where you can buy the hydrogen and go fuel up your futuristic fuel cell car, but I haven't seen any, and I don't really know how that works, but it's very exciting. I like the idea of cars fueled by hydrogen, given that it's the most abundant element in the universe. It seems only natural, duh, like why aren't we already doing this? But I guess, the compressed or the liquid hydrogen is difficult to maintain at a liquid, at a temperature where it is liquid, and the little connector to make sure you don't get burned or your fingers blown off, or whether there's like some special connection when you fill up at the pump, you gotta lock the thing in, and it takes a little bit longer to refuel. So there's some reasons that people aren't super excited about them. But I mean, Toyota has the chops to do this and make this 1 million EV promise. They're the largest producer of cars, period, globally in 2016. And that's pretty astounding. They want 10 new electric vehicles in the next 2 years, 10 new electric vehicles in 2020. Now, I don't know if that's new cars, like brand new cars that we've never heard of, or if they're going to take existing platforms like the Corolla and make them available in electric, like with an electric option or whatever. So I don't know. Do any of you know, do they plan on making 10 brand new electric cars, or are they expanding existing platforms and, offering an electric power plant instead of the ICE power plant? No idea. Now, as exciting as this is, and I love Toyotas, they're not going to be here first. They're going to do this in China, just like Volkswagen. So this thing that China is doing, where they are going to sometime in the near future, they are going to make diesels and gas motors illegal. You're not going to be able to buy them. You're not going to be allowed to run them. You're not going to, none of that. And so what that's going to do is it's going to create, and it's already creating, massive demand for electric vehicle charging infrastructure to be built in China. It's also going to, and has already begun to create, massive demand for new electric cars. China is a massive country with a lot of people in it, and a lot of change is happening in China right now, with that country developing the way it is. One of the jobs that I work for a Chinese-based company teaching English to Chinese kids over the internet, like basically a Skype type platform. And they are encouraging all children at a very early age to learn English as quickly as possible. Now that says to me that their culture and their society have big plans for the near future, where they intend to get and remain extremely competitive with their workforce on a global stage. Now, being able to do those things while also driving forward into the future and addressing their air pollution problems, because, I mean, they have enormous industrial pollution, but also enormous personal vehicle use pollution. Shanghai is and Beijing are known for having some of the worst air quality in the world. And these are issues that they're trying to address. Their public health concerns are growing over their air quality. So I can definitely see why China's making the push that they are. You know, a few weeks ago, we saw Volkswagen make their announcement about all of the new vehicles that they're going to make and sell in China. And now Toyota's jumping on. 10 new electric vehicles from Toyota in 2020. Now, we're going to see them in China first before we see them here. And that makes me, oh, so sad. Because I really want to see some new Toyota EV cars on the road here in Vegas. So I don't know how long it's going to be before we see that. But Toyota is also still investing in hybrids. They're not giving up on hybrids just yet. So with all of this new investment in electric vehicles, they're going to make all these new EVs and stuff. They're still going to make hybrids. All models will eventually be available with a hybrid equivalent. So when you go into your dealer and you say, hey, I'd like to take a look at the new Corolla, the dealer is going to say to you, all right, you want the Corolla or the Corolla hybrid? You know, same with Camry, all of it, all the way across. That's, to me, is pretty damn cool. I don't know. I'm pretty excited to see that all of these manufacturers are coming up with new ways to get in on this Chinese EV boom, and I think it's really going to drive innovation forward. I mean, the demand is there. We need these vehicles. China needs these vehicles, and eventually, like everything cool, those vehicles will be made available in America, and I'm really excited. Would you guys drive an all-electric Toyota? I know we see the Prius. We see the Prius everywhere. I'm seeing a lot of Prius C, the Prius Compact now. And now Prius makes a plug-in hybrid where you actually have to charge at the end of the day, like I do in my Volt. The Prius gets a lot of hate all over the place because it's goofy looking, because of the Prius drivers, for some reason, have some kind of reputation for being Whole Foods consuming, morally superior, judgy, beard growing, organic bean farmers, I guess. I don't know what this weird hippie stereotype is that surrounds the Prius vehicle. This odd phenomena where people just want to hate on the Prius all the time. Parker, looking at you. Calm down. It's just a Prius. It's just a Prius. You know what? In fact, show me on the doll where the Prius touched you. Really. I want to know why the Prius gets so much hate. Since we're talking about Toyota, everybody let me know in the comments what you guys really think about the Prius. Are there any Prius drivers out there? I know a couple of Prius drivers, and they're like, you know, if it weren't for all of the people who like to make fun of me for driving my Prius, it's actually a perfectly reasonable vehicle. It's the best car I've ever had, and I get great mileage, and my family loves it, and we go for road trips, and, you know, et cetera, et cetera. You know, people who drive them really like them, which is why Toyota's been able to make them so long, and be selling them at a profit. It's one of their best-selling vehicles ever. And also, the Prius hybrid came out, and the sales numbers for it proved that Americans are willing to try something new, that we are willing to try a hybrid vehicle. And oh hey, if we're willing to try a hybrid, why not try an all-electric? You know, the Prius proved those things, and now Chevy has one of the biggest electric and hybrid producing programs that there are now, with the Volt, with the Bolt, with the, you know, they got the Gen 2 Volt coming out, and, you know, electric cars all over the place, and that's amazing. And I don't know that GM would have gotten into the game like they did if they didn't see that competition from Toyota rising, if they didn't see that demand and that piece of the market that they were losing by not providing for it. You know, Toyota kind of did that for us. So I'm really excited to hear that they're going to expand their hybrids and their electric vehicles. I'm really excited to hear that they're going to invest in developing all of these new things because of what's happening in China. I'm really excited for China. You know, here in America, if they were to suddenly outlaw ICE engines and we couldn't, if I couldn't go to a car show and hear a, you know, classic V8 start up cold and smell that, you know, hear it and you feel it in your chest, when, you know, something that you get those backfires and you smell the good fuel, especially if they put the race fuel in it, and, you know, that's just part of our culture here. We have these beautiful old Cadillacs and old Mopar and, you know, old everything, and that's part of our culture here. But have you seen, like, a classic Chinese car? No, you get none come to mind, right? Go look some up. I'll wait. Yeah. So for them to say that, oh, we're going to outlaw all ICE engines and we're just going to have electrics, they're not really losing anything in their culture. So I'm excited for what that's going to do for them. Their roads are going to get, you know, everything is going to get a lot cleaner. It's going to allow their air to recover over a period of years. I don't know, the roads are going to be a lot quieter. I'm just very excited because when China, a country as big as China, an economy as big as China says, like puts their foot down about something, the rest of the world has to take notice. And we've been led to believe that that's a bad thing. Like, if you hear the media, if you're listening to politics or anything, it's like, oh, China's doing stuff. Not everything that China does is necessarily going to be a bad thing. And we're a major economy that likes to throw our weight around, and now China's doing that too. And, you know, one good turn deserves another. They're putting their foot down and demanding that they're not going to have any more internal combustion engines, no more diesel, no more, none of that. And they're just going to allow electric and hybrid vehicles. And now what you got, manufacturers, and the manufacturers are listening and they're planning for this. So far we got Volkswagen and Toyota that I know about. So here's what's up, guys. Do you know anybody else? Any other news articles that I haven't gotten to yet where people are jumping up and down for, to make, you know, is Nissan going to invest anything huge in China? Who else is rising to the occasion with what the Chinese want right now? I'm really interested in those things. I'm really interested in your perspective on this. I really want to know what you guys personally think about the Toyota Prius, and be honest. Like, I want to know, what do you think? What do you perceive public perception is about it? Like, how do you think the Prius is perceived? And also, what do you personally think about it? Would you ever own one? Have you owned one? Have you ridden in one? I've ridden in one before. Little boggy, little slow, but perfectly comfortable car for getting around, getting to work in the city. I don't see anything wrong with it. And if you have a gigantic problem with Prius, if you got like the major hate on for the Prius, like so many people do Parker, I want to know about that. I want to know, like, where does that come from? Like, why does somebody else saving on gas and driving a hatchback shaped like a cheese wedge bum you out so hard? Because I see the big diesels with the stacks on the back and it says Prius repellent, like, pointed at the stacks. It's like, okay, I guess that's a kind of humor. You could call that funny, I suppose. But, like, really, why? Like, all that Prius is doing is using less fossil fuels so that you could take fossil fuels and turn them into more noise and smoke for yourself. Like, shouldn't you be a fan of the Prius, given that it's a finite resource? Or maybe I'm missing something here. But I'm just really curious about that dynamic socially. Like, what is this weird love-hate relationship that our culture seems to have with the Prius? It's like one of the most divisive cars that there is out there. Every once in a while you run into that, you run into a car that's very divisive, where people either really love them and believe in them, or people freaking hate them. And anything AMC ever made, is another divisive thing. Like, people love the AMC brand and love things that AMC made back when they were still in business, so they're like, screw it. Screw AMC. Best thing that ever happened was them getting cannibalized by Chrysler for the Jeep brand, and screw everything else AMC ever made. And you're just like, so, like, why is the Prius divisive like that? People either love them or they freaking hate them, and they hate anybody who drives them, and I don't get that. It's just a car. Calm down. So I think that's my ramble this morning about Toyota, about electrics, about China. If this is your first time to the channel, welcome. A lot of our videos are like this here, and I'm glad you're here. And please consider subscribing. Try to throw up let's see. We want to subscribe over here, and here's something else you might want to watch right over here. So I'm Catherine with EVs of Nevada. I hope everybody has a really, really, really nice day. And remember, the Prius is nothing to be afraid of.